Hello,
Hi, Mario.
how are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How was your Black Friday?
Oh, not
You
too
sh
much shopping.
you
I
sh
had
you
emergencies.
Oh, emergencies. Oh boy.
And nobody's working today. I was one of the few working.
Yeah. It's funny. Everyone's talking about shopping, shopping, shopping. I went online. Yeah, I can't go to a store. There's too many people. The parking is ridiculous. It's not for me.
Even there, the stores are packed.
Yeah, the outlet mall. My daughter-in-law went to the outlet mall. Couldn't even find parking.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
And there's no big Metzias
No
there.
Metzias. No.
No.
It's the thrill of the hunt.
There's a lot of Baba Metzias.
Bava Basra, yeah,
Where are we? 157, 56,
157.
57.
got it.
So Bachol Omru, that you can be mazaket of somebody else with Dibur alone without writing anything during the week for Kavachomer Shabbos, because you can't write. Kiyotzebo, similarly, Zachim Gadol. A Gadol has the right to be Zocha for an item by himself. So I can be Zocha for something on behalf of somebody else. I find a lottery ticket with Harold's name. I can be Zocha on his behalf. But Ein Zochin LeKatan, since a cotton doesn't have the ability to do it himself, he can't. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gadol Amru, yes, you can be Zocha for an adult and Kavachomer LeKatan, because if the cotton can't do it himself, who's going to be Zocha for him? Rabbi Yudah Omer, that the Machlokes is different. Rabbi Yezer Omer b'Shabbos Dvarav Kayomi, that on Shabbos, when a Shriv cannot write down, then you have to listen to his words. But Monday, Tuesday, his words are not enough. You have to write it down. Rabbi Shomer b'Shabbos Amru and Kavachomer b'Chol. They said the din in Shabbos, and certainly b'Chol that you can follow his words without writing it. And Kiyotze b'Zoch L'Katan Vein Zoch L'Gadol Div Rabbi Yezer. Similarly, Rabbi Yezer said you can be zoicha for a cotton, but not for a gadol, because a gadol can do it himself. But Rabbi Shomer, no, the cotton omer kavachomer l'gadol. Now, a more interesting case, Mishnah. Nafal abayis olav alav. A house collapses on a father and son. O alav al moirishav. Or a person and somebody else that he would inherit. Everybody's dead. The only thing is, we don't know who died first. Haisalav, the son, had divorced his wife. Excuse me, the divorce had married his wife, had a ksuba, and now it's supposed to be paid out on the death of the husband. Or Balchov, he had a creditor who he owed money. the son didn't have money on his own, but if he stands to inherit, so it depends who died first. Yorshei ha'av oimrim, the other heirs of the father says, Haben meis rishon. Right? You have no proof who died first. So they claim the son died first, didn't inherit anything because the father was still alive. And therefore, all the assets belong to us. And there is no claim on the estate from the ksuba or the balchov. Abram 157, the Mishnah. A house collapsed, and a father and a son have died in the house, but we don't know who died first. And the son had to pay off a ksuba at his death, or he had a balchov. So the other Yorshim say that, you know what? The son died first, and therefore didn't inherit his father. But the creditor, the wife, who wants to collect her ksuba, says, the father died first. Oh, the son was still alive. He inherits. Then he dies, but then he has assets to pay the ksuba or the balchov. And I guess there's no proof one way or the other. So Beis Shammai oimrim yachloiku. The two sides divide the money. Beis Hillel oimrim nechasim v'cheskasim. You leave the assets with the yorshim of the father because that's where they are. And you claim that the father died first, right? The ones who want to get the money have to claim that the father died first so that the son inherits something to pay them off. So they are the ones who have to bring proof one way or the other. They have no proof. The assets stay where they are. So that's a very interesting case. Walter, on 157, we just finished the Mishnah.
Got it.
Tran Hasan. Hamalvas chaver b'shtar. Person loaned money, and there was a star. With that, goyvim and chosum shabodi. The person who borrowed the money, let's say he has no assets, and he had sold off a piece of land to somebody after the date that's listed on the star as to when the loan was funded. If there were eidim, they aid him. Let's say there was no star, and there was only eidim who were there, witnessed it, but there's no written star. Then goyvim and chosum b'nei chayrin. The lender can only collect from metaltalin, from assets that he has, free and clear, that haven't been sold to somebody, or a piece of land that hasn't been sold. But if he has no more assets and he had sold something, they can't collect from that because it wasn't documented in the star, even if it was done with aid. It's considered a malval peh. Boy Shmuel. Let's say there was a star, and it says in the star de ikni that there's a lien on assets that the borrower will acquire in the future. The kanan, he did, after they wrote the star mal. Is there a lien on the debt or not? Now it depends. This goes back to the famous machlokes we've had. Can you do a kinyan on something that doesn't exist in the world yet? So when they're making the star about the loan, the guy hasn't acquired anything. So it's a future acquisition. So according to Rav Meir, you can be makne, something that doesn't exist in the world. So when they put in the star the words the ikni, loy tabaylacha, there's not going to be shaila, that those assets that he purchases in the future will be included in the lien, vadaikana, and they're mishubah to the malvin. Elakiti bo chalibid rabbana. The amri ain't a makta davar shalabala. According to Chachamim, you cannot make a kinyan something that doesn't exist. So Amr Rav Yosef, Toshma, we're going to try to bring a proof one way or the other. There's a machlokes between Admoin and the Chachamim, a lender produces a shtar that he's owed money. The borrower says that, you know what, after the date that you loan me money, I have a shtar that you sold me a piece of land. Well, Admon says that's proof that the loan was paid off. Why would the lender sell him a piece of land if he hasn't paid off the loan that he owes him? However, Chachamim no, Zaya Pikach, the lender was actually smart. It's like a piece of collateral. He can always take it back if the guy doesn't pay him off his loan. But what's clear from this debate, that this piece of land that was bought after the date of the shtar, the Malva can collect from it. So there is a way of a shibud to be advanced even to an asset that hadn't been acquired yet. So Amalei Rava, Minei Ka'oma, you're trying to bring a proof from there? Minei Afilu Miglimad al Kasfoy. Our shtaros, and we say it in the ksuba, when we read the ksuba at a wedding, that you can collect from the shirt off of his back, which implies that you can collect from anything that he has in his possession. So in that case, he has that in his possession. What we're asking is kikum boilon the ikni. We're talking about the borrower acquired something, the kana, right? He bought it, but umochar. Now he sold what he bought to another person. Or the ikni v'kana v'hoirish, or he bought something and he left it over for somebody. Can the original lender collect from those nechasim that were sold off by the borrower or given over as an inheritance? And therefore that Mishnah doesn't answer that shaila. Amrav Chana Toshma, maybe from our Mishnah. Nafal abayis alav alavi. A house collapsed on a father and son, or alava moirishin, like we said, on a person and anybody that he would inherit. And the son, Aisalav Ksubasishu Balchot. The son had a wife with a ksuba or a creditor. Now, the other heirs of that father who was in the house, Yorshe Avoimrim, Haben Meisrisho, Vachakach Meisav. The son died first and then the father. So the son doesn't inherit anything. And therefore, there's no claim on the estate from the wife who has the ksuba or from the balchov. No. The creditors who had loaned money to the son claimed that the father died first. Therefore, the son inherited him. Therefore, he now has assets. So we have a shibud on it. Now, now, if your avamina is that when it says in the shtar the ikni, things that he's going to acquire in the future, is also the kana umochar, things that he acquires and sells, and includes the ikni kana v'hoirish, and it's lo mishtabed. And in those, the answer to your question would be that the original malva has no lien on those. Then what would be the difference whether the son died first or the father died first? Even if the father died first, it would be the ikni, because it came to his possession after the loan. Otherwise, we were forced to say that there is a capability of being mishabeh those assets. When you say the ikni, even if he sold it off, the original lender can go and collect from those people. So Amar Rav Nachman, Zeiri Chavrin Tigim and Rav Zeir explained that the reason why the Balchov can collect in that situation, it's not because of ikni or not ikni, for a different reason. Mitzvah liyasoyim b'pro chovis aviyah. There's a special mitzvah for heirs to pay off the debt of their father, for the covenant of their father. But it's not a proof to our question about the ikni, does it cover kana u'mochar? Moskav Ravashi. Well, if it's his chayvus to pay off is not from the shtar, but because it's of the yisoyim lepro chayvus aviyan. But we've said all along, malva al pehu. Let's say you don't have a star, you only have an edim, orally. And Rav Shmuel Damar Tavai, malva al pehu govi lomin ayorshim lomin lakuchos. The case can't even apply because a malva al peh cannot be collected from yorshim and lakuchos. So it comes back, Elahamani Rav Meir, that it has to be a case of Rav Meir. It's not a raya for the Chachamim who hold that you can't acquire something that isn't in the world. So, on Rav Yaakov min Arpkod Mishmei Ravi, Toshma. By the way, tomorrow we'll learn at 7 o'clock. Yeah. The Daf Yomi, and then the Nach will be at 8 o'clock. Very interesting Nach Shir for tomorrow night. Toshma. Shtarei Chova Mugdamim. If you put a date on a Shtar Chov, let's say it's funded June 1st, but the date is put April 1st. So those are psulin, because then a person will be able to collect from land that was sold off before the loan was funded. So that we don't allow that. Now, if the guy who lends the money allows a post-dated Shtar, that means he funds it July 1st, but it's dated September 1, he's hurting himself. Because if the guy goes off and sells the only asset he has, he won't be able to collect from it. But if he doesn't, and who creates the shtar? The malva. So if he agrees to that ksheri, it's only a mugdamim, which hurts the borrower, that is possible. Now, isakadayf the iknu is v'konu macha, and the ikni v'konu v'hoirish. If when you put in a shtar that the assets that he's going to be coined in the future and sell off, or to be moirish to other people, lo mishtabit, the original lender doesn't have the right to that. Why would there be a problem with mucharna mike sheri? Why would we say that post-dated stars are good? Sometimes you're going to be dealing with a star where it says the ikni, that if the lova acquired other assets after the date of the halva, but before this predated date, he'll sell him, and the malva will be able to get him not according to din, because it's ikni and it's not meshubit to him. So again, the Gemara says there's no proof because Amani Reb Meir, the Omar, but it's not according to the case of the Chacham, who say you can't acquire future things. We say certain assets, times when you loan money, you can't collect from things that have been sold off, only from a tatul. So, for example, Reuven borrows money from Shimon. And then Reuven only has a piece of land, and he sells it off. And when he sells it off, the guy who bought it improves it. So, Lishvach Karkos Ketsa. The borrower sold his property, and that guy who bought it, hishbicha. Now Shimon, who lended the money, goes to Reuven. Reuven doesn't have any money. He sold off the only asset he has, which is the piece of land. So he has a right to go to the buyer, Levi, who bought the land from Reuven, and collect it from him. Now, Kishahu Goivit, now the guy, Levi, who borrowed from Reuven, who bought the land from Reuven, and now has had that piece of land taken away from him, he has to go back to Reuven to collect.
For the improvement, right?
He goes to Reuven, right? Reuven stiffed him. Reuven owed money, and Reuven sold him a piece of land. And the borrower comes to Reuven to try to collect, says, I don't have anything. So the lender gets to go to Levi, who had bought a piece of land from Reuven, and get it from him as payment for the loan. Levi now gets to go to Reuven to collect back his money. He paid $1,000 for a piece of land, but the land was taken away from him. Meanwhile, Levi had spent money improving the land. So the din is goivas aker min chosim ushubodim. The Levi can collect from Reuven, even if Reuven had sold off other pieces of land from Mishubodim. But the shvach any improvements that he put into it, he can only collect from Ruvei Menachos B'nei Chayim, from free and clear assets. But Isa Gedaitich the Ikni, that there's a shibud on things that he sold off the Kanal Machar, the Ikni, the Kanal Irish, Lo Mishtab, and you can say there's no shibud. So Baal Chava might go V'shvacha. Why should the Baal Chava collect anything? Hamani Rameri, the Adamak the Davar Shelo Baloilam. You're allowed to make such a king, but according to Chachamim, there's no shayla. Now, Im Tim Salome de Ikni, Kona Umacha, and the Ikni v'Kona Varish, Lo Mishtab, that the lender doesn't have any shibud on those things. So Halo Mishtabed, and you're going to give me the answer that there is no lien. And Im Tim Salome and I going to want to set up a case that there is a Mishtabed, that there is a lien. So we have a shayla. Loive v'loive. Somebody borrows from Reuven, then he borrows from Shimon. And he wrote to both of them that he's meshubed things that he was going to be koina later on. And he bought things later. Chazav v'kana mau. Who is it? Who has the first shibud? Lekabah mishtabed or lebasra mishtabed? Only Reuven or Shimon also? On Rav Nachman HaMilsi Boilan, this question was asked. V'sholchu misam rishon kana. He had an earlier shibud, so he's kana. But Ravuna Amar Yachloiku, they can divide it. V'chein Toni Rav Ravu Yachloiku. Amar Ravina Madura Kama. Listen, in the first edition of the Gemara that Rav Ashi wrote, when he went through the Gemara on the edition number 1, Amar Lan Rishon Kana, he told us that only the first has a king. B'Madura Basra, it looks like they did a second volume or a second go around in the Gemara, the Rav Ashi. Amar Lan Yachloik. Later on, he said they should divide it. V'hilchus on the final halachas Yachloiku. Meisve. He said l'shvach karkos ketza. If if somebody bought the Levi who bought it from Reuven, improved it. When Levi comes to get his money back from Reuven, the principal he can get from even assets that Reuven had sold off. But the tashvach only minachas b'nei chayim. V'im isa. But if this principle holds, then there would be a shibud even on what was mashbiach. So chatzi shvach leboile. Since yachloku, he should have a lien even on the chatzi shvach. My goy v'nami diktani chatzi shvach. You have to amend and say that he can collect half of the shvach because of this din of yachloku. Okay. We'll stop here. Tomorrow 7 and for the Daf Yomi and 8 o'clock for the Nach. Everyone should have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Enjoy
Shabbos.
the